Princess Rosette. Once upon a time there lived a king and a queen who had two handsome sons and a beautiful baby daughter. When it was time to christen their daughter Rosette, they invited the fairies. The queen asked them what would happen in her daughter's life. But the fairies didn't have good news. Because of her, Rosette's brothers will have bad luck. The king and queen were worried about their sons, so they kept Rosette in a tower to stop her bringing any bad luck to their sons. Many years later, when the king and queen died, the eldest son let Rosette out of the tower. The first thing she did was walk in the palace gardens, and she was amazed by the colourful flowers growing there. She came across a beautiful peacock and said, "I will marry the king of the peacocks." Her brothers laughed at her for saying she would marry a peacock, but the princes loved their sister, so they went in search of the king of the peacocks. After many weeks they found him. The princes showed the king a picture of their sister. "She is the most beautiful princess in the world," the king said. So Rosette's brothers asked if he would marry her. He said he would if she was as beautiful as her picture, but if she wasn't, then he would punish them for lying. Then the princes were put in prison until Rosette arrived. The princess set off in a boat to the kingdom of the peacocks. She took her little dog named Frisk with her and a maid. But not long into the journey, the maid had a wicked plan. When the princess was asleep, she threw her bed with the princess and Frisk still on it into the sea. When the princess awoke, she was terrified to find herself floating out to sea. She held tight onto the bed, with Frisk sitting beside her. Meanwhile, the maid dressed in the princess's clothes. She met the king of the peacocks and pretended that she was Princess Rosette. But the maid was not as beautiful as the princess, and when the king saw this, he was angry, as he thought the princes had tried to play a trick on him. The princes were brought before the king to explain themselves. He wanted to punish them, but the princes said, "Please give us some time to prove to you that we are telling the truth." Meanwhile, an old man had rescued Princess Rosette and Frisk from the sea. As the princess was feeling hungry, she tied a basket to Frisk and told him to bring back some food from the best kitchen he could find. Of course, the best kitchen belonged to the king of the peacocks. So the little dog ran all the way to the king's kitchen and stole his food. This happened again and again, until the cook followed the little dog to the old man's cottage. Then he ran back to the king and told him where all his dinners had gone. The king said he would like to go and see for himself who was stealing his food. So he went to the old man's cottage. He arrived just in time to see the princess and the old man finishing his dinner. The princess told the king everything that had happened. The king realized that she was the real Princess Rosette and that the princes were telling the truth. Rosette was indeed as beautiful as her picture, and the king fell in love with her. The princes were let out of prison, and Rosette and the king of peacocks were married.